What would happen if everything you trusted was taken from you in a single moment, if your home was destroyed, your future stolen, and your faith was all you had left to hold on to? Daniel's story begins with loss. Jerusalem, the city that carried the name of God, the city of promise and worship, fell under the power of Babylon. The sound of prayers was replaced by the sound of marching soldiers. The temple was looted, families were separated, young men were dragged away into exile. Among them was Daniel, still young, still forming his understanding of life, yet already anchored in faith. As Daniel walked away from his homeland, he did not know the plans God had for him. He only knew the pain of separation, the fear of the unknown, and the silence of unanswered questions. But even when God seems silent, he is never absent. Babylon believed it had conquered Judah, but it had unknowingly transported a servant who would soon challenge the pride of kings. In Babylon, Daniel was selected for royal training. He was taught the language, wisdom, and customs of an empire that worshipped many gods and trusted human power. Everything around him pushed him to forget who he was. Even his name was changed, as if removing his identity could remove his faith. But faith does not live in a name alone. It lives in the heart. Daniel understood early that compromise begins quietly. It starts with small decisions that seem harmless. When the king's food was placed before him, rich and tempting, Daniel saw more than a meal. He saw a test. To eat it would be to accept dependence on the system that opposed God. So he made a decision that shaped his destiny. He resolved not to defile himself. This decision did not come with applause. It came with risk. Refusing the king's provision could mean weakness, punishment, even death. Yet Daniel trusted that obedience would bring protection. His request was humble, his tone respectful, but his conviction was firm. And God honored it. As the days passed, Daniel and his friends did not grow weaker. They grew stronger, their minds sharpened, their health improved, and those watching could not deny the difference. God was already making a statement without using words. Soon, Daniel's quiet faith was about to collide with royal fear. King Nebuchadnezzar dreamed a dream so disturbing that it robbed him of peace. The dream pressed on his spirit, heavy and urgent, demanding understanding. He summoned all the wise men, demanding answers. But wisdom without God collapsed under pressure. The king's demand was impossible. Tell me the dream, not just its meaning. Panic spread through the palace. Fear followed, and when human wisdom failed, death was decreed. Daniel found himself sentenced to die for a mystery he did not create. Yet instead of despair, he chose prayer. He gathered his friends. Together they cried out to God, not casually, not comfortably, but desperately. They knew only God could intervene. And God did. In the stillness of night, revelation came. God unfolded the mystery, and before Daniel spoke to the king, he worshipped. He acknowledged that power belongs to God, not kings. That history moves at God's command. That secrets are not hidden from him. Standing before Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel spoke with bold humility. He made it clear that no man could do what God alone had done. He revealed the dream. He explained the meaning. Kingdoms would rise and fall, but God's kingdom would stand forever. The most powerful ruler on earth bowed before a captive exile. God had turned weakness into authority. Daniel was promoted, but his faith was not diluted by success. While others chased power, Daniel remained anchored in obedience. And when Babylon demanded worship of an image made of gold, his closest companions refused to bow. The furnace burned hotter than fear. The flames consumed the soldiers who approached it. But when the faithful were thrown in, God stepped into the fire with them. Not to rescue them from it, but to walk with them through it. They were not burned, not broken, not afraid. And when they came out, not even the smell of smoke clung to them. Babylon saw what faith looks like when God is present. And Daniel learned something that would soon save his life. God is not limited by environment. Not by fire, not by empire, not by fear. Years passed, kingdoms changed, Babylon fell, and the Persian Empire rose to power. Yet Daniel remained. Decades passed, but his integrity never weakened. He served faithfully under multiple kings, proving that obedience to God does not depend on who sits on the throne. King Darius noticed Daniel immediately. There was something different about him. His work was excellent, his spirit was steady, his leadership was clean. Because of this, the king planned to place him over the entire kingdom. But favor exposes you. Jealousy grew among the officials. They searched desperately for a reason to accuse Daniel. They examined his records, his words, his actions. They found nothing. No corruption, no dishonesty, no carelessness. Finally, they realized the only way to trap him was through his faith. They manipulated the king into signing a decree that for 30 days no one could pray to any god or person except the king. Anyone who disobeyed would be thrown into the lion's den. The law was sealed and could not be changed. Daniel knew the law, he knew the consequence, and yet he did not hide. He did not adjust his faith to survive. He went to his house, opened his windows toward Jerusalem, knelt down, and prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done. Prayer was not a performance. It was his lifeline. Daniel was arrested and brought before the king. Darius was heartbroken. He tried all day to save him, but the law stood firm. As evening fell, Daniel was lowered into the lion's den. A stone was rolled across the opening. Darkness surrounded him. That night, the king could not sleep. But in the den, heaven was at work. God sent his angel. The lions' mouths were shut. Fear lost its power. Peace filled the place of danger. At dawn, the king ran to the den and cried out, hoping against hope. Daniel answered calmly, declaring that God had saved him. Daniel was lifted out. No wound was found on him. The lions that could not touch the faithful destroyed those who plotted evil. And once again, a king proclaimed the greatness of Daniel's God, declaring that he is the living God, whose kingdom will never be destroyed, who rescues and saves, who performs signs and wonders. In his later years, Daniel received visions that reached far beyond his lifetime. He saw the rise and fall of empires. He saw suffering and deliverance. He saw that history was not chaos but a story written by God's hand. When Daniel prayed for understanding, heaven responded immediately. Angels moved. Revelation came. God showed him that his faithfulness mattered not just for his generation, but for generations yet to come. Daniel lived knowing that obedience echoes beyond what the eye can see. He never led an army. He never ruled a nation. Yet kings bowed, empires listened, and history shifted because one man refused to compromise. So here is the question that still speaks today. When pressure comes, when faith costs something, when obedience feels dangerous, will you stand? Because the same God who walked in the fire, shut the mouths of lions, revealed mysteries, and honored faithfulness is still watching, still moving, and still powerful enough to do the impossible.